Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story is one that we have covered in the past around maybe a year or so ago. There's a couple of new updates to it as well. It's from Honeybell Mama from the True Off My Chest subreddit. Titled, "My husband doesn't see how his work wife is trying to destroy our marriage." As I said, if you've seen previous parts of the story, you want to skip them, timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. I, 31 female, am at my wit's end with my husband's 32 male co-worker Sarah, 30 female, and his complete inability to see what's happening. I'm not usually one for Reddit, but I need to know if I'm going crazy here. Where do I even start? 3 years ago, my husband, Mark, started working with Sarah. At first, I tried to be welcoming. I invited her to barbecues, included her in our group outings, and genuinely tried to be friendly. Big mistake. She spent the entire time making backhanded comments about everything from my career, "Oh, you're just a yoga instructor, how peaceful," to my cooking. I guess not everyone can master basic seasoning. The real problem is that Mark thinks she's just being funny. Last month, she literally threw away the anniversary mug I gave him because it clashed with the office aesthetic. When I got upset, Mark said I was being too sensitive and that Sarah just has high standards for office decor. It was a mug with our wedding photo on it. Some greatest hits from Sarah. She scheduled a mandatory work dinner on our anniversary. She convinced Mark not to take a promotion because it would mean working with a different team. She posts daily photos of them together with hashtags like #workpowercouple and #workspouse. She tells everyone at their office that she takes better care of him than I do. She changed his coffee order and now tells everyone she trained him right. The worst part, my husband is completely blind to all of this. Yesterday, he actually told me about how Sarah said our new house, which we spent months searching for, was charming in a starter home kind of way. He repeated this while laughing. I tried talking to him about it, but Sarah has convinced him I'm just insecure. She managed to insert herself into every aspect of our lives. They text constantly, even on weekends. She knows his schedule better than I do. She rearranged his entire desk and office wardrobe because his style was too suburban husband. That's what he is. Last week, I suggested marriage counseling. He looked genuinely confused. He of course went and talked to Sarah about it, and I found out from another co-worker that she's been telling people that Mark and I are going through a rough patch, and that she's just being a good friend by giving him someone to talk to. We weren't going through anything until she started this nonsense. The breaking point? I stopped by his office to surprise him with lunch. I know, but it was his birthday, and Sarah was supposedly out sick. Guess who was there? Sarah. She had miraculously recovered and bought him a cake that said, "To my work hubby," with a photo of them from the office holiday party. She saw me and said, "Oh, Amy, you came too. How nice." "Mark, you didn't tell me your real wife was coming." I'm not crazy, right? This woman is trying to destroy my marriage while my husband stands there grinning like it's all some big joke. What do I do? Divorce seems extreme, but I'm running out of options here. ETA, I should have stated that the promotion wasn't one that would increase his salary, but his title. It would give him more leadership experience. It still blows my mind that he turned it down just so he could stay on the same team as her. ETA, I should have told the mug story in its entirety. She accidentally broke the mug. I noticed it was gone when I was visiting him one day. I asked him about it. He said she accidentally knocked it over, and then later he repeated a joke she made about how it didn't fit the office aesthetic. And as you can imagine with the first part of the post, everyone was turning to the husband being the main problem here. First commenter said, Sarah would not be able to sabotage your marriage if your husband wasn't allowing it. Forwardmost says, you have a husband problem. Go to counseling and get professional help to communicate your concerns. Remind him that he's married to you, not Sarah, so her opinions shouldn't matter when it comes to your marriage. Good luck, but be prepared for the worst. Late Butterfly says, yeah, this guy isn't oblivious. He's complicit. He knows what's happening and he likes the attention. He's happy to let his girlfriend disrespect his wife. So it was 4 days after this that Opie came back in and said, hi, I, 31 female, posted a few days ago. I really didn't expect my post to blow up the way it did. I got so overwhelmed by all the comments that I haven't responded to any. I want to address everyone who says it's fake. I understand why you would think that, but this is my personal hell. I only listen to Reddit stories on TikTok, but when this reached its boiling point, I just needed a place to talk, so I made an account and tried to yell into the void. Well, the void turned out to be less empty than I thought. Now, to why everyone is here. The update. Before I talked to my husband, 32 male, I decided to do some investigation. I started with his phone and read all the messages between him and Sarah. She badmouthed me a few times. He did nothing to defend me, but didn't engage either. She was flirty, he wasn't really flirty back. They talked a lot and he praised her frequently for her work ethic and intelligence. I didn't see anything about cheating. I checked his mail, nothing. I checked his work email, nothing. I looked through our other devices, nothing. I searched high and low for a second phone, nothing. Everything I found was already dancing that line. Nothing was outright cheating, but here are the things that I found that did hurt my feelings. He has lunch with her, and only her, every day in the office. They don't really like anyone else, so they'll criticize others and say, let's talk more at lunch, they're serving XYZ today. He'd say things like, I'm sure if you were a wife, you would XYZ. He always kept it as wife and not my wife, but it still upset me. She admitted to breaking the mug on purpose. He didn't get upset with her, just said, yeah, the photo gifts are kind of corny. I confronted him. I laid it all out, and while he wasn't upset, he did try to brush things off. He said I was being sensitive and overreacting. I told him if we didn't have a real conversation about this, I would file for divorce. That got his attention, and he sat down with me. He admitted that at first he found it odd that Sarah was trying so hard. He saw her trying hard with all the men in the office. The more attention she gave him, the more he enjoyed it, and the more he responded. The more attention she gave until she just had her sights on him. He knew some of the other men were envious, and he liked that too. He admitted that eventually he just got too deep. He said he knew it was wrong but had gotten addicted to the attention and didn't want her to move on to another man, so he indulged her sometimes at my expense. He said it was just nice to have two women in two major parts of his life, stating that he knew we'd rarely see one another. So what was the harm? He reiterated that he never ever physically cheated with her, but admitted it could be called an emotional affair. It was painful. I won't hide that. I mean, really painful, like I wasn't enough. I told him from this point on, he needed to stop communicating with Sarah and asked to be transferred or switch jobs altogether. Now folks, I mean it when I tell you this. He lost his shit. He began raising his voice, saying things like he never cheated, it was all above board, and I couldn't control who he talked with at work. He called me a narcissist and a control freak. He told me I had no idea how hard it was, how much stress he had in the office, and that his personal relationship with Sarah helps a lot. Taking it away would just damage his mental health. It got so bad that I started crying. I couldn't take it anymore and decided to leave. I packed a small bag and called my mother-in-law. She's the only family I have here. I gave her a rundown of what was going on and she offered her home to me. I'm staying here and just hoping my husband calms down so we can revisit this. I want to work it out. I love him more than anything. We'll try harder to answer some comments on this post and we'll definitely update if something new happens. This has been really therapeutic and makes me feel less alone. The top commenters on the update said, well, I kind of figured that he wasn't that clueless. This is a full-blown emotional affair. From experience, things will only escalate. They're in bed together. Protect your peace because he sure doesn't give a damn about your feelings. Stay strong. Togar Suck says, jump right from admitted it could be called an emotional affair to he began raising his voice, saying things like he never cheated. OP made a valiant effort, but it doesn't seem like this marriage can be saved. OP adds some additional comments herself and says, my mother-in-law is on my side and told me point blank that he is wrong. However, she said she doesn't want to get in the middle because she doesn't want to damage the relationship with either one of us. She told me I'm welcome as long as I need, but she won't bring anything up to her son until he brings it up to her. My mother-in-law agrees his actions are wrong but doesn't want to escalate or to damage her relationship with either one of us, so she's staying out of it unless he contacts her. And one more saying, as for my husband, he has tried to reach out. He's called and left text messages. I let him know I was safe and left it at that. He will message or call every few hours, but we haven't talked. So at some point later, OP does come in again with another update and says, well, I'm back. First, I want to address some of the negative comments. To all the people saying they're Team Sarah and hoping Sarah and my husband get together. I even saw a nasty comment saying Sarah and my husband would be the office power couple. How can you sit here and say nothing's going on? You claim my husband didn't cheat and I'm being crazy, yet in the same breath wish they would get together. You're contradicting yourself because deep down you know something romantic was developing. Now for the update. My husband came to my mother-in-law's house. She didn't call him. He knew I was there because I told him, and he said he wanted to talk. Some big things happened in such a short time. He wanted to explain. According to my husband, after I left, he started to reflect. He did call his mum and they had a long talk. I didn't know any of this. She asked him if he was happy with me. He said yes, and I made him extremely happy. I was a good wife and a great partner. This is kind of what all sunk into him, that he was being juvenile for wanting attention from another woman. I did ask him why he always brushed things off and never took action before. He said he couldn't explain it. It just felt good. He assured me he never wanted to sleep with her and never advanced things that way. It was just nice having someone around who was fawning over him like a fan. For those who said he didn't know what an emotional affair was and was just agreeing with me, you were right. He admitted he didn't really understand what an emotional affair was, but after looking it up, he agreed that's what it was, though unintentional. He said he didn't want to lose his friend, so he just went along with a lot of what she did. He admitted he was too deep into a fog, but me leaving and this conversation with his mum was the one thing that brought him out of it. He said he didn't want to fight. My husband is big on giving me my space, so when I left he didn't chase after me because he thought it would be best for us to just cool down and think about this and hopefully come back and discuss it more rationally. He did reach out to Sarah, though they didn't meet in person. They had a phone call. He told her they couldn't remain as close, that their out-of-office texts and calls needed to stop, that he would get a replacement mug she wasn't to touch, and that they needed to cut back on their lunches. He wanted to handle this before talking to me to show he was serious. Sarah didn't take it well. She started berating me, saying I was forcing him to do this. My husband stopped her and said no, he was doing this because his marriage was important. He admitted letting things go too far but clarified he had no romantic interest in her. He told her if she had feelings for him, she needed to distance herself immediately. Sarah ended up ruining their friendship herself, though my husband was willing to maintain a more distant friendship. Her comments about me and him, claiming she'd never want him and that everything she did was because she knew we weren't meant to be together and she was trying to open his eyes. He said he couldn't believe he'd never seen how vindictive and awful she was. She was almost venomous. It didn't end well. After handling that situation, he came to see me, wanting to ensure I knew he understood and was taking the proper steps. He said we could do whatever I needed. I know some of you will say I'm wrong, that divorce is the only option because he had an emotional affair. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm not divorcing my husband. I told him we needed counseling for the both of us. Yes, going through all his devices, emails and texts might have been extreme. He agreed it felt like a breach of privacy but understood given the circumstances. I told him we both needed to work on things. As of right now, I guess you could say that we're separated. We're not staying in the same house, we're going to attend counseling. I don't want to just jump back into things with him. I don't want it to seem like it was okay to make me feel like I was the second option to ignore all those red flags and brush me off. This has to be worked on. I'm leaving his mother's house and staying with a friend. I'm not sure if anyone's going to want an update after this. Sorry it's so anticlimactic. Sorry it's the typical, oh you just got back together. I mean it is, but it isn't. I love my husband. I know he loves me. I don't think everything is an end-all be-all. Yes, it's a terrible situation. Yes, he did a terrible thing, but I want my marriage to last, so we're giving it another go. I genuinely hope this is my last update. It's not, but if it's not, you all will know. Thank you for all the messages, all the support, everything. It's really been a huge help. So a commenter said on the back of this update, honestly, this was the update I was hoping for. I'm happy he recognized it and that you two are working for your marriage. All the best, and I hope your marriage is stronger after this episode. One more commenter who says, glad to hear that the fog is lifting. Hope he sticks to his word and distances himself from Sarah. I would even involve HR to let them know what is going on in case she gets vindictive and tries to cause trouble at work. I'm happy to hear that you're proceeding cautiously. Hope everything goes well for you in the end. Then OP comes in with one more update and says, hi Reddit, we're continuing our work-wife saga. As a lot of you predicted in my last update, Sarah wasn't happy about my husband ending their friendship and trying to put a distance between him and her. I seriously thought she was going to reach out to me, but she never did. Why? Because this was never about me. I was not even on her radar except for somebody to tear down. I will give Sarah one thing. She is extremely efficient. She started her campaign long before Monday morning. Over the weekend, she reached out to several of my husband's co-workers, mostly male. She told them that my husband had randomly stopped being friends with her, and she suspected it was all my fault. She said she couldn't believe it. Everyone knew how close they were. She just felt bad for him, wanted to be a friend for him and hopefully help him out of a terrible marriage. She went on and on about how she couldn't believe how much this was going to affect her during her working hours, that she didn't know if she can continue working at this job. One of the female workers at my husband's job messaged me all of this. As a lot of you predicted, she's gearing up to accuse my husband of sexual harassment. Monday alone, she's put herself in the path of my husband multiple times. It kind of feels like she's setting up to do a he said, she said argument because she's doing a lot of odd things, at least according to my husband. Think stuff like intentionally following my husband into a room or section of the office that is somewhat closed off, accidentally emailing him or forwarding him things, going to his cubicle multiple times a day for no reason, sitting close to him in meetings. It seems harmless, but really it feels like she's gearing up for something. My husband did go to HR first thing Monday morning, and like I kind of thought, they pretty much said they can't do anything unless it affects work or working hours. His HR is not the greatest. He did let them know what she was doing today, but honestly, I don't think they took him seriously. We've been thinking about moving. The only thing that keeps us here is really his mum, so he might just transfer jobs. We're not really sure. I hope things don't escalate anymore, and since he went to HR, I'm hoping that nothing big happens. I'd like to give a little update about our counselling. To all the people who tell me that I'm making a mistake by giving my husband another chance and trying to work it out. I'm so happy I didn't listen to you. I understand it was a shitty situation. I lived through it, so I know it is. I know how it felt. But counselling has revealed a lot about my husband that I didn't even know. Apparently he was bullied severely in high school. He kind of went through a little glow up when he went into college. Sarah is definitely one of those stereotypical blonde pretty girls, and my husband admits that it did kind of feel like he finally got his chance to be popular in a social setting. My husband admitted that Sarah basically mirrored everything about him. His likes, his dislikes, she talked to him like he walked on water. It definitely sounded like she was boosting his ego in a manipulative fashion. Like I said, I understand this isn't just a forgive and move on kind of situation, but hearing my husband talk about it, how it felt that way it affected him, it made me have a lot more sympathy for him. I still haven't come back home, but we're doing it one day at a time. I went and had lunch with him on Monday, and I'm going again today. I'm trying to be there for him so he doesn't feel alone. I'm really ready for all this to die down. I'm hoping it doesn't get taken further at work, but if it does, we'll deal with it. And the top comment on that one said, OP, your husband should be documenting everything in writing as it occurs, and then provide it to management. In addition, a consultation and possible engagement of a seasoned labor/law employment attorney. And on the back of this, a lot of people in the comments pointing out the same thing, and honestly, I don't think they're wrong. The husband had his reasons, the attention, the ego boost, the whole feeling wanted thing after being bullied when he was younger, etc. Sure, there's an explanation, but it doesn't excuse it in the end though, does it? Because he still went along with it. He still let another woman disrespect his wife right in front of him and laughed along with it. He still entertained it, encouraged it, and only drew the line when things actually blew up in his face. That's the part that doesn't look good, because it wasn't just Sarah acting out, he was allowing the environment where that behavior felt okay. But yeah, it's absolutely good he's trying to fix things now, of course it is, but you can imagine why a lot of commenters are saying what they're saying at the moment. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from Tough Volcano, who says, girlfriend and I, 26 male and female, got into a huge fight over a keyboard, thinking about ending things based on her behavior. So my girlfriend and I, both 26, got into a fight about this 2 nights ago, and she's making it seem like I'm being an arsehole. We've been dating for 4.5 months. My girlfriend has a 2013 Lenovo laptop that has seen better days. As it stands right now, among other issues, her keyboard totally doesn't work. Because of this, she always uses a small Bluetooth keyboard with her laptop. She had texted me the next morning saying that her wireless keyboard had stopped working as well. I'd already planned for me to stay the night at her place after I got off work, so I offered to stop by my place on the way to grab her a keyboard as I have a few extras. When I got to her place, she was eagerly awaiting the keyboard, which makes sense as she wasn't able to use her computer for most of the day. But when I handed her the keyboard, she started getting really quiet and pouty. A bit later, when I asked her what was wrong, she said she thought I'd be bringing her something nicer, like the keyboard I had at my desk. The thing is, I have a really nice keyboard at my desk. I'm a programmer, and I love this keyboard so much that I also bring it to work with me. I even have specific macro profiles for it that definitely improve my workflow. For context, I had an extra Amazon Basics keyboard, at $15 lying around, still brand new in the box. My personal keyboard, which I've had for years, is some variant of the Razer Black Widow, around $120. Anyway, she was apparently expecting me to be selfless and let her use my nice keyboard while I used the Amazon keyboard. She was upset that I didn't value her enough to lend her my nice possessions and left her with the cheap $10 keyboard. Her words. She said if the situation were reversed, she'd lend me the nice keyboard. I explained to her that I had my keyboard specifically set up for work, and because I'm so used to it, it would hinder my ability to do work if I didn't have it. We continued to argue about it. Things really came to a head when she boldly claimed that if I wasn't willing to lend her my nice keyboard, that I should have bought her a nice new keyboard if I really cared about her. This is when I got really mad. I told her that she was acting like an entitled, spoiled child, and that she should have been grateful that I went out of my way in the first place to grab her the Amazon keyboard. She started crying and asked me to go home. I left, but I still gave her the Amazon keyboard to use. I was far more upset at the principle of the situation than the keyboard itself. So now she's calling me an arsehole for both not giving her my keyboard and because I called her spoiled. We're going to meet up tomorrow to talk about this in person because I refuse to continue this silly argument over text. I'm thinking about ending things with her, as I feel like this is her showing me her true colors. Holy moly entitlement. He literally went out of his way to help her, stopped by his place, brought her a pretty much brand new keyboard, it was boxed and all that good stuff that she could use on her laptop, and her reaction was disappointment because it wasn't the expensive one. Yeah, that's a red flag in itself. And then even went as far as that you should have even bought her a better one. Yeah, it's just crossing the line so many times, isn't it? Because now it's not about help, it's just what she feels that she's owed. And all of this after 4.5 months of dating? Come on now, that honeymoon phase is ending, and like you said, this is where you're seeing the mask come off. A commenter says, you are honestly 100% right. She's acting like a spoiled child. Beggars don't get to be choosers. She wants your nice keyboard, she can buy one for herself. Better yet, she can buck up and save up for a new laptop. I don't blame you at all for feeling angry. I think you should attempt to talk it through before you decide to break up with her, but it's definitely a red flag that she's acting this way. Info says, I think you got it right when you said she was a spoiled brat. She should have been grateful that you came over with a keyboard, any kind of keyboard. Maybe she should take her own advice and be a little selfless. I would pose a question to you. If you two are fighting over a keyboard, what will happen when an issue that is a bit more serious comes up? Good luck with your talk. I have a feeling you're going to need it. And one more commenter says, never marry someone until you see how they act on a really bad day. Opie then edits the post and says she texts me asking to meet up tonight instead of tomorrow, as she's feeling anxious and stressed about the situation. I will give everyone an update later tonight or tomorrow morning. I also wanted to clarify that she's never acted like this before, although admittedly we haven't been together for very long. Some of you suggested that maybe I'm not making her feel valued, and this situation is a symptom of that. While I think I both show and tell her that she's valued in different ways, this may be something I bring up with her. It, of course, doesn't forgive her behavior, but may explain some of it. Cheers. So then OP comes in with her update and says we met earlier tonight and sat down to talk. I was somewhat prepared to end things with her, so I suggested we meet at her place so that I could bail if things went south, and they did. Even though I thought I made my post as anonymous as possible, one of my girlfriend's co-workers figured out who the post was about. Girlfriend's age, work in HR, which I mentioned in a comment, some computer problems, dating a programmer, etc., and sent it to my girlfriend. The reason she wanted to meet early was because she was furious that I'd made the post airing our dirty laundry. In a sense, I guess she was right, because at least one person had figured it out. My girlfriend never used Reddit, so I figured I was safe. There's a strong chance she'll read this one as well. Lol. Anyway, she immediately began berating me, telling me that I made her look bad in the post and lied about the detail of our argument to get people on my side. I asked her to point out any part of it that wasn't true, or where I had lied. Long story short, she couldn't point to a single thing. I definitely raised my voice when I told her that if she looked bad, it's only because of her actions. I told her I only made the post to get some perspective on the matter. The post was 100% accurate and she knew it. She began to tear up and asked me if I was really considering leaving her over a keyboard. I asked her if she understood that this wasn't about the keyboard, it was about the way she acted towards me when I was trying to do her a favor. She stayed silent and didn't answer. I asked her what had prompted this outburst, if everything was okay with her. I asked if anything had happened with her friends, parents, or at work that was upsetting her and may have led to this. She got really defensive, asking, "Are you calling me crazy? And do you think I'm unstable?" I had no idea where she was going with this. I told her I wasn't calling her crazy, but that she had to understand that I was quite confused about how she was acting, and that there had to be a reason for it. We talked in circles for a bit, and I tried to pry it out of her. I still don't know what caused all of this, because she simply wouldn't tell me. When I realized our conversation was going nowhere, I finally asked her if we're going to have an adult conversation, or if this was the hill she was willing to let the relationship die on. She asked, "What do you want from me?" And I said, "I want an apology." I'm getting tired of typing, so I'll wrap this up quickly. She was absolutely unwilling to apologize. She thought that my betrayal of posting about this was far worse than her initial behavior. We talked for about 5 more minutes before I told her that I don't even care anymore. I told her this whole thing was exhausting, as she wasn't willing to help us get to the bottom of this, that we should just break up. I didn't waste any time making my way to the door. As I was leaving, she asked if I wanted the keyboard back. She didn't ask to be nice. She was definitely trying to get on my nerves. I could tell by the tone of her voice. I told her she should keep it as long as she promised never to call or text me again. I've been getting tons of not so nice messages from her friends, which finally prompted me to delete my Facebook. She obviously told her friend some false version of the story, which made it seem like I really did leave her over a keyboard. I couldn't care less, as I'll never be seeing any of them again. We only dated for up to 4 months, so in the end, I don't feel terribly heartbroken. Mostly just relief that it's over, but also confusion. Still have no idea why she acted out. And to the people who had some unkind words towards me because I use a Razer keyboard, pound sand, dorks. I like what I like. Very short edit, she called earlier today and was very apologetic. My assumption is that she saw this post and read all the comments detailing how I was right for leaving her, among other things. I told her that she had her chance to apologize. And let's just have one comment from the top to finish this off. I saw a comment on Reddit a while back that asked why so many relationships fail at approximately the 3-month point, and someone, no, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes plus Googling to give credit to the person, replied that they once been told it was because it was really hard for people to continue pretending to be someone they weren't for much longer than 3 months. I think maybe this applies to your situation. And as they say in situations like this, it was never about the keyboard. And she was never going to see it any other way, I don't think. So I don't blame OP for noping out, especially 4.5 months into a relationship like that. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.